Hi, this is Alex Fernandez with Bud and Doug Walters Auto Sales. Today I'll be doing a video going over some of the primary features inside of this 2017 Jeep Cherokee Trailhawk. We'll start by talking about the touchscreen here. We'll then work our way down the climate control and some of the switches and dials below. We'll move over to the steering wheel, our stalks behind the steering wheel, as well as the screen and the gauge cluster. And then we'll work our way over here to our left side and finally end up with some of the switches that we have available above us here. Coming back to the touchscreen, this is where we're able to interact with most of the primary functions in here. We have our radio, we have our navigation, which is built in, we have phone connection, access to our climate controls, and the apps page, which has all the other features that aren't necessarily in this bottom row. This controls button, which gives us access to the heated seats and heated steering wheel, as well as the auto dimming rear mirror function. And we also have our settings there in case there's anything that you need to change about the vehicle. We'll start with the radio here. You'll see along the left side of the screen we have AM, FM, and satellite radio. Those are the three different sources available to us for radio. Across the top of the screen we have our presets. To change those, simply press and hold and wait for the beep. To change your station, we can use the seek buttons here on the screen. We can also use this keypad to directly tune right to the station. And then we also have a tuning dial down below, which we can use to change the station as well. The browse button here gives us our presets, and we're able to scroll through those, delete them, move them, things like that. The audio button over here on the right side gives us the balance and fade, our equalizer for bass, mid-range, and treble, speed adjusted volume, our auxiliary, volume offset, and then autoplay when we have a connected device through the USB port. On the right side there we have high definition radio, which is just a clearer, crisper signal when it's available. And then we also have the ability to pop open our map display right from within the radio section. Going on to the phone, we have no phones connected right now, and it's asking us if we'd like to pair one. We won't do that right now, but if you were to be adding your phone here in the vehicle, it's as simple as pressing yes on this prompt and then opening your Bluetooth settings on your compatible phone to work through the process of adding it to the vehicle here. We'll press no for right now. This screen is what it would look like when we have a phone connected. Everything is grayed out right now as a result of there not being a phone connected. But you'll see we can redial, end a call. We have our phone book and recent calls. We can set do not disturb. We can have that do not disturb also reply with a text message if someone calls you while you're driving and you don't want to pick up. We can mute the call. We can transfer it from the vehicle back to the phone handset, and we can join calls together if you have more than one person in the call. And we have a dial pad, messaging. If your phone is compatible, you'll have your text messages coming through. And the last thing there is settings, where we could switch through our different paired phones if we had more than one. Moving on to navigation, we push that nav icon and we'll have this display pop up. To start, you'd press where to, and then we have a couple different ways to enter a destination here. We could use an address, recent destination, points of interest. If you saved favorites, they would be there. We can search by an intersection. We can also save the home address as well. And then there's a couple other ways that we can search for a destination. Most commonly, you'd probably be using the address function. It gives us this template here where we can change the state if needed. We can also change the city, and then we'd be typing in the street name in this middle portion here. As you type, the vehicle will give you a list of available options for that based on what you've typed so far. Moving on to climate control. The climate control we have physical controls for down here, with an expanded version available to us on the screen of the car. It is dual zone climate control. We have driver temperature here, passenger on the right. We have fan speed along the bottom of the screen there. We have our 4 different locations of the vents in the middle. And across the top we have max AC, which will turn on air conditioning, recirculate mode, drop the temperature all the way down, and turn the fan speed all the way up, all at once. We have air conditioning if you just want that by itself. We have our recirculate mode, auto mode, which lets you set the temperature and it takes care of the rest, such as fan speed and things like that. And then we have front and rear defrosters there. Within this, we also have an off switch for the climate control. We have a sync button, which pairs that driver zone and passenger together. If we want them separate, simply change that passenger temperature, and it will no longer be synced together. Last thing there, we also have access to the heated seats and the heated steering wheel from this screen as well. Moving on to the apps page, we do have kind of an expanded version of what's along the bottom of the screen here. Basically is access to all the primary functions or features that this vehicle has available. Some of them do require subscriptions, some of them do require a paired smartphone and compatible apps such as AHA, iHeart, Pandora, and Slacker. We talked about the controls button. Within settings, we also have some vehicle settings, display settings, clock settings. We're able to change some vehicle functions inside of there as well, if need be. Moving on from the screen, if we look down below, we have our volume dial here, and mute button right in the middle. We have a button to turn off the screen if we don't want that display on. We have the button to turn off the traction control, which is on by default every time you start the vehicle. We have our auto start stop off button. So this vehicle, when the conditions are correct, you're coming up to a stoplight and you come to a complete stop, the motor will shut down while you're at a stop and then will restart as soon as you begin to move again. If you want that feature to be turned off, you can do so by simply pushing that button there. We have a back button in case we were inside of a menu on our screen there and wanted to go back. And then we have our tuning dial, which also functions as a scroll wheel and an enter button if we wanted to not use the touchscreen controls, we can use that dial instead. The climate control we just talked about, we have some physical buttons for that as well down below. So we have air conditioning and recirculate modes, our driver and passenger temperatures, fan speed on this dial, off button at the top, our auto mode in the bottom half, and then our front and rear defrosters there. Being that this is the Trailhawk Jeep Cherokee, we have some terrain and four-wheel drive controls down here. So we have our 4-low electronic locking differential available to us there if we're in four-wheel drive low. We have our hill descent control, and we also have select speed, which is essentially Jeep's system to maintain a slower speed if you were driving through some nasty terrain or anything like that. We can also rotate this dial to change the mode we're in. You'll notice we have auto, snow, sport, sand, mud, and rock. Again, those can be used depending on the terrain in which you're driving. To access 4-low, the transmission must be put into neutral. And you'll see messages displayed on the gauge cluster here showing 4-wheel drive low in the bottom left of the screen, or bottom right. And we have our electronic stability control turned off as well when that happens. To put the vehicle back into its standard mode, simply push that button again while the vehicle is in neutral. We have our parking brake here as well. Pull to set and put your foot on the brake pedal and push to disengage. Moving on to the steering wheel, we have our cruise control here on the right side. We have the on-off switch. You'll see a message displayed when we turn it on. Once you're up to speed, push the set, either one of these to set your speed. To speed up, push the plus sign. To slow down, push the minus sign. Then we have cancel buttons and resume here as well. On the back side of the steering wheel, we have volume controls on the right side, along with a button in the middle between the two volume buttons that allows us to cycle through the sources of audio. We have the same buttons on the left side, an up and a down switch and a button right in the middle. Those cycle through skipping tracks or seeking on the radio. And if we push the middle button there, that cycles us through the presets on the radio that we have set. Looking at the left side of the steering wheel, we have buttons for our hands-free calling, so a button to answer and hang up or decline, and we also have our voice command or voice recognition button, which we can push and give the vehicle a command such as calling one of your contacts in your phone. This control pad here controls the screen and the gauge cluster. With the up and down arrows, we can cycle through the different functions or different options there. We have at the top the speedometer, which is number 1. We have vehicle info, and you'll notice we can go left and right in that section as well to display a couple different things. We have fuel economy settings, trip information, our stop-start system, whether that's available to us yet, our audio, if there were any stored messages such as needing an oil change or doors open or anything like that. And we also have our screen setup, where we're able to adjust what's present in the corners of the screen as well. Right now we currently have exterior temperature and a compass display for us there. Looking at the stalks behind the steering wheel here, we have windshield wipers. For the front windshield wipers, simply rotate the end of the dial here as far as you'd like it to go, and that'll increase the speed as you do so. The rear wiper, we have 2 positions here. We rotate that to the intermittent or on position. And then for the sprays, for the front spray, pull that stalk towards you. For the rear spray, push the stalk away from you. On the left side here, we have our blinkers, as well as our brights. Hold to flash and push to turn on. Down below here, we have our headlight controls. The headlights are automatic. They'll use a light sensor to determine whether or not they should come on at night as it gets darker. And then we have the adjustment for the brightness of our backlighting and our dome light brightness as well. The last button there is our powered liftgate. You can open and close the rear hatch with that button. On the door here we have our door locks, our window switches, and our mirror adjustments just up at the top there. And right up above we do have HomeLink garage door programmable buttons. And then we have our sunroof controls here to open and close the glass and tilt the glass. On the right side we have the button to open and close the shade. And then we have our dome lights there and a glasses case just up above. Those are the primary features of this 2017 Jeep Cherokee Trailhawk. If you have any more questions, please refer to us at waltersautos.com or feel free to call at 269-375-7008 with any further questions or to make an appointment. Thank you.